Hi friends and welcome back to my channel. This will be my March TBR, but actually it's more like 3 TBRs in one. Because in March I plan on participating in 3 month-long readathons. We first have the GlobetrotterAthon that is hosted by the amazing Kevin from Much Ado About Books. It's a readathon entirely about traveling between different countries, continents, all of that. And I'm happy to be one of the team leaders. I'll be the team leader for Team Car. So there are team specific prompts, there are bonus prompts, and there are prompts and challenges to encourage you to read more diverse and read books from different nations or where the characters travel to different nations and all of that. I will have 1 TBR for that. The second readathon is the GreekGodAthon hosted by the lovely Esme from Bookish Buddies. She has put so much work into this one as well. I mean, all of my friends are incredible. And once again, I am very fortunate to be one of the co-hosts of this readathon. I am pledging my alliance to the god Hephaestus. I hope I pronounced that right. I'm pledging my alliance to Team Chaos and Team Hephaestus. Please join me. This is also a great readathon with a lot of fun prompts, and also every god has their own ability and perk that you can use to help you out when you're building your TBR. The third readathon I plan on participating in is the Tropeical Readathon. It's one of my absolute favorite readathons. I'm obsessed with it. I love it so much. I think it's amazing. I think that Jen and Rob, they do an amazing work with building this readathon, building the prompts, researching the teams, the team books, all of that. Basically, it's all about reading books with typical tropes in them. Tropeical Readathon, it makes sense. And this time, I will be representing Team Science Fiction. I'm challenging myself by reading more sci-fi, and I'm very excited about it. So yeah, 3 readathons, 3 huge TBRs. On top of that, I'm gonna make this even more challenging because I asked on Twitter that even though I have 3 different readathons to participate to, should I randomize my TBR for March? Can you guess who the winner was? Y'all are mean. Y'all want me to fail. So yes, I'm here because of you, because I need to randomize some books for my March TBR, and I need to work these books into 3 different readathon TBRs. So that will be fun. I really love randomizing my TBR, and I'm very excited about this added challenge. I do have some books I need to read in March. First of all, it's the final month for the Poppy War read-along. I can't believe it's the final month already. So I will need to read The Burning God by R.F. Kuang. Also, I'm doing my own The Greenbone Saga read-along. And I should technically read Jade Legacy. That is the goal at least. In this video, you are going to see 3 different TBRs for each readathon, and I'm super excited. I hope they turn out the way I want them to, because I want them to be themed and all of that. But this is the part where I'm gonna randomize my TBR. I wanted to do this first so that I can make sure to fit these books into the prompts for the different readathons. So I'm gonna stop talking because this is gonna be a freaking long video. I'm gonna pull books from 3 different categories this time. We're gonna do my physical TBR, the books I have on my shelves. We're gonna do my Goodies Want to Read list. And then we're gonna do an ebook actually. I have actually made a list in a spreadsheet that has all of my different ebooks that I own. So the first category is my physical TBR. I counted my books, and today I'll be picking between 93 different books on my physical TBR. I have from 1 to 93. I'm gonna click randomize, and I'm just gonna count the books and pick the one that is chosen. So 3, 2, 1. Please be a good one. 13, okay. 13 it is. Let's count. We can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going down. 11, 12, 13. Uh-oh. Another huge fantasy? Okay, sure. Okay, the 13th book on my shelves was none other than The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. This book is just a bit over 500 pages. It's the first... It's the first book in an adult fantasy series. I am super excited about this book. That's not it. Like, it's one of my 5-star predictions. It still is. I started reading it 1 year ago and I read like 2 chapters. I did enjoy it, but I just didn't have time for it. So that's why I never continued. So I am gonna start from the beginning for this one. But like, I don't need a huge fantasy on my TBR in March. I have like 20 books I need to read in order to fulfill all of these prompts, I'm guessing. I need to make sure I can get this to work in all of those readathons. Like, a fantasy is not the way to travel the world or to represent Hephaestus or to be a part of the sci-fi team. So I have no clue what I'm gonna do. Let's move on. The next category to pick a book from is my Goodreads Want to Read list. According to the list now, I have 535 books on this list. It never goes down for any reason. I just keep adding books to it. A number between 1 and 535, okay? 3, 2, 1. 160. Book 160. Here we are at the highest number of books, so let's just move down a bunch of pages. Okay, 196. I think it should be on page 19, if I know my math. Perhaps not. Okay, yeah. So, let's scroll and see what book 160 is. Okay, we have some contemporaries, some YA, some Swedish books, sci-fi. Oh, Otessa Morsfeg, Arcs, Bunny, interesting, getting closer. Some romance, and a romance. Okay, are we ready? Ooh, okay, I'm not mad. I don't think I'm mad, at least. Book 160 is The Roommate by Rosie Danan. I've heard various things about this one. My guess is that it's about two people of the opposite sex moving in together, falling in love, doing the deed, having a good time. Once again, I'm not certain if I'll be able to fit this into my actual readathon TBRs, but we're gonna make it work. For my final randomizing my TBR, I'm gonna pick a book from my ebook list. I have a bunch of random books here from both my iBooks and my Kobo, so I think there are a total of 24 books on this list. Once again, I'm gonna randomize a number from 1 to 24, and then I'm just gonna show which one it is on the list. From 1 to 24, 3, 2, 1. 9. Book number 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The book from my ebook list that was picked, randomly picked, was Mexican Gothic. I have no clue where to squeeze this one in. I have no clue. Perhaps a trope? Perhaps... Like, I thought February would be a lot. I have a feeling, especially with the books that have been picked now, like, I have already started to plan my TBRs for the 3 readathons, and I feel like I was doing so good with that. I actually figured things out, and now these books comes along and we just mess things up. So if you voted for me to randomize my TBR in March, bad. I blame you. Okay, I guess future Charlotte, take it away with your TBRs for the GlobetrotterAthon, the GreekGodAthon, and the Tropeical Readathon. Hello! New backdrop. Who this? I thought that it would be fitting that for my GlobetrotterAthon TBR, I would have my map in the background. The GlobetrotterAthon is a wonderful readathon created by Kevin from Much Ado About Books. It's a readathon that both encourages you to read books from all across the globe. It encourages you to read books that relate to different countries, to different continents, but it's also just a really fun and witty readathon. There are team prompts and bonus prompts. Once again, the bonus prompts are meant to encourage you to read more diverse. The team prompts are just a fun play with words. I know that Kevin has worked on this readathon for a very long time, and he has made some amazing graphics for this. I'm very excited that I get to be a part of this. I am the team leader for Team Car, so you are very welcome to join me in my car, join me on this cruise, on this road trip across the globe. We're gonna have a lot of fun. I have a great playlist prepared. I have snacks for the road. We will be making stops, so don't worry about any bathroom breaks or anything like that. There are 3 more teams. We have Team Ferry, Team Train, and Team Plane, I believe. So I'm just gonna share my TBR. I'm not gonna talk that much about each book, because if I do, we're gonna be here for ages. So in order to even start the GlobetrotterAthon, to take off on this adventure across the world, you actually need to start by reading a book that relates to you. The logic is that, well, since you always have to start somewhere before you start traveling, of course you need to start from where you currently are. So in order to achieve this, you need to read a book that somehow relates to you, either by the setting, the author, or the language. So it can be a book that's translated to your language, it can be a book that takes place where you live. I kind of struggled with this one because I wanted to make sure that I could fit all of these books into other prompts as well, but I figured it out. I have an idea. The book I plan on reading for my takeoff is Stöld by Ann-Helén Lastadius. This is a book that was originally written in Swedish. I don't believe there are any translations of it yet. Basically, the title of it translates to theft. This story is about a 9-year-old daughter to a reindeer herder who becomes witness to the murder of her reindeers. She is threatened to silence, and she also realizes that her origin causes a lot of hatred. This story takes place in the northern parts of Sweden, and it features one of Sweden's recognized minority groups, the Sami people. I have not read any stories about the Sami before, so it will be really interesting, and I'm actually surprisingly excited about this book. I know it got a lot of rewards and a lot of recognition in Sweden in 2021. Like, this will be something new for me, something different, and hopefully something exciting, because I don't typically read Swedish authors, except for that one author that you probably haven't heard of. That will be my first book. Now I'm gonna talk about the prompts for Team Car. The first prompt is to read a book with some sort of city element on the cover. For this prompt, I plan on reading City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. Not only does it have the word city in the actual title of the book, but you can actually see the skyline of a city here as well. I feel like this is a good choice. It's a middle grade, that's why the author goes by Victoria Schwab instead of W.E. Schwab. W.E. Schwab is for her, I believe, YA and adult books. And it's not too long either. It's about 270 pages and a very nice size on the text as well. I'm not too sure what this is about, but I think it's about some girl that sees ghosts, basically. The next prompt is Journey, to start or continue with a series. And for this one, I plan on reading Gemina by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. Don't tell me how many times this has been on my TBR, okay? I know, but freaking, like, in March, I'm gonna get to this. I'll be putting this on all my TBRs. This is gonna be the first book I read in March, so like, mark my words, this book is getting read. It's the second book in the Illuminate files, hence it's a part of a series. It's space, it's fun, it's mixed media. I'm excited. So even though it looks really thick, it's about 600 pages, since it is this mixed media format with like a lot of pictures and like empty pages and more like files and such, I do feel like this will be a fairly quick read at least. The next prompt is Commute, to read a buddy read or a read-along book. I told you that these prompts are witty, okay? For this one, I plan on reading The Burning God by R.F. Kuang. This book is the third book in the Poppy War series, and we're reading this for the Poppy War read-along, and in March we're reading The Burning God, so this is perfect for that. This one is actually closer to 600 pages, and it's like epic adult fantasy. Might take a bit more time, but this will also be a reread for me, and I'm so excited about it, and I'm glad I could fit this one into the TBR. The final team prompt is Crowded, to read a hyped book. For this one, I plan on reading Jade Legacy by Fonda Lee. This is the third book in the Green Bone Saga series, and I know this one is also really super thick. Another epic fantasy to the list, because why not? Now let's talk about the bonus prompts. So the first bonus prompt is Traveling, which I guess simply means to read a book that features travel in any sort of way. And for this one, I will count City of Ghosts. It says here on the back that Cass, the main character, and her parents move to Edinburgh. I'm not sure from where they're going to Edinburgh in Scotland, but I even asked on Twitter if this could be considered travel, and someone replied like, yeah, they actually travel to Edinburgh, although they also could not remember from where. So I'm gonna count this for the traveling prompt. And you are allowed to double up. So both within the team prompts and also within the bonus prompts, you are allowed to double up once. So basically you can read one book that will count for 2 prompts in the team prompts and also 2 prompts in the bonus prompts. So I feel like that's really nice of Kevin to make sure that you're able to double up if you need to. Then there is a prompt called Minority, to read a book about a minority. And for this one, I'll be counting Stöld by Ann-Helén Lastadius. This is a Swedish book that features the Sami people, it's about the Sami people. So this is a perfect fit. I'm very glad that I also could make this book work for 2 prompts, basically. Next prompt is Flag. And this one is a bit tricky, actually. At least I found it quite tricky. But then I started to think about it, and I actually got multiple ideas. So it's just one of those that you perhaps are a bit confused by at first, but once you start thinking about the prompt, and the books you have on your TBR, you can actually make it work quite alright. Basically, the prompt is that the book you read, its cover needs to have all of the colors of the flag of the country that your book relates to. For example, I plan on reading Mexican Gothic for this prompt. Now, the Mexican flag has the colors red, green and white in it. And if you look at this cover, we can see that it's red, green and white on it. So it works. Another idea I had for this prompt was actually to read Percy Jackson, the first book, and that is because the cover has blue and white on it. And if we relate this book to Greece, Greece's flag has blue and white in it. Like, once you start thinking about this one, it will make sense. The final bonus prompt is to read a book that has been translated. For this one, I plan on reading The Three-Body Problem by Cixin Liu. This is a sci-fi, a typical space opera. I know nothing about it, other than the fact that it's a sci-fi, and it will work with my other TBRs as well. So those are all the team prompts and bonus prompts for the GlobetrotterAthon. Also, of course, as I mentioned, other than these prompts, you actually get points by traveling the world. So as we are filling in the form and tracking your books, you will actually be able to add which country the book relates to and gain points from that as well. Kevin has made these images that explains how the point system will work. I will also link Kevin's announcement video and the Twitter for the GlobetrotterAthon. We go through the books I already talked about. Stöld is Sweden, obviously. Mexican Gothic, Mexico. City of Ghosts, Scotland, UK. The Three-Body Problem, China. It's translated from Chinese. The Burning God, also China. And obviously multiple of these ones will be able to count for America. My approach with this readathon will be that I will aim to complete the team prompts and the bonus prompts, and along the way I'll make sure to track the different countries and continents that each book relates to as well. Please sign up to the GlobetrotterAthon. Once again, I know that Kevin has put so much work into this one. There will also be I think 3 different giveaways. So 3 chances for you to win something, which is super exciting. So yeah, sign up and we'll get to travel the globe. And I'm so excited because I love traveling. That is why I have a map, this ancient map, in my office, because I love traveling. So I'm very excited, but let's now get to the next TBR. Hi! Now it's time for my TBR for the GreekGodAthon, hosted and created by the wonderful Esme from Bookish Buddies. In total, we are 14 co-hosts. Yes, I know, that is insane. The GreekGodAthon is a readathon inspired by the Greek gods and their myths. Please join us in the GreekGodAthon in the fight against the Titans. This is also a team-based readathon where there are 2 teams. There is Team Chaos and Team Control. I am Hephaestus, the god of blacksmiths and fire. And I am a part of Team Chaos, and I encourage you to pledge your alliance to Team Hephaestus and Team Chaos in our fight against the Titan. Every god in this magnificent readathon has their own ability, and Hephaestus' ability is Hephaestus's Forge. Create your own prompt to replace one in the team. Each god has their own ability, each god has their own prompt as well, and there is an entire point system for how you get points depending on which book you read for which prompt and which team they belong to and so on. I will leave the announcement video and Twitter for the readathon down below. Please check it out. Might be a bit overwhelming at first, but it's a lot of fun and you can really make it work, and the Discord is super useful as well if you have any concerns or any questions at all. I know that Esme is answering every single concern and question, so she's being amazing. There are in total 14 different prompts for this readathon, and there are different rules depending on which god you have pledged your alliance to, whether or not you are allowed to double up and how and so on. My plan is to focus on the prompts for Team Chaos. That totals to 7 books, and by completing prompts that belong to your team, you're actually gaining more points than if you were to focus on the other team's prompts. So I'm just gonna go through all of the prompts for Team Chaos and their gods and share which books I plan on reading for each prompt. The first god in Team Chaos is Aphrodite with the prompt True Love. Read a romance. For this one I do plan on reading The Roommate. This is perfect actually. It was the book that was randomly picked from my want to read list, so yes, I could finally fit this into one of my readathon TBRs. The next god is Ares with the prompt War on Words. Read a book with war. For this one, I will be counting The Burning God by R.F. Kuang. There's basically a constant war in these books. This one fits perfectly. The next god in Team Chaos is Artemis, with the prompt The Hunt. Read a highly anticipated book. One highly anticipated book for me is The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. It's one of my 5-star predictions. The next god is Hades, with the prompt Dead as a Doornail. Read a book with the undead. For this one, I will be reading City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. Amazing, I could fit this one in again. A middle grade. I'm really hoping that this will be both an easy and quick read, but also entertaining, because I know how much I really enjoy Victoria Schwab's writing. Hopefully this one will live up to my expectations. The next god in Team Chaos is yours truly, Hephaestus, with the prompt Forge Ahead, which means to read a sequel. The book I plan on reading for this prompt is none other than Jade Legacy, the third and final book in the Greenbone Saga trilogy. I'm currently reading the Jade War, really enjoying that one. I'm hoping I'll be able to get to this one in March, and I have a feeling that it will most definitely break my heart. Next god is Poseidon, with the prompt Endless Ocean. Read a book with water elements. And what book fits better than a book about Poseidon's son himself, Percy Jackson. This book is a middle grade, I'm sure you know about it, everyone loves this, everyone read this when they were younger. I have not read this series, so I'm actually quite excited to get to it. Once again, it's a middle grade, I do hope it will be a bit of a quicker read, but hopefully entertaining as well. Percy Jackson is a half god, he's a demigod, and he's the son of Poseidon, so there must be water elements in this one, right? There must be. I mean, Poseidon will be mentioned in it, right? What are Percy Jackson's powers? Is there water elements in Percy Jackson, or have I completely messed up now? Can we get like a character description or something? Here we have it. Percy's powers, which start small and develop as the books proceed, include controlling water, making hurricanes, breathing underwater, and talking to horse-like animals and fish. I think that's enough water elements for me. The son of Poseidon, come on, there must be water in this one, okay? The final god in Team Chaos is Zeus himself, with the prompt Lightning Quick. Read a cover Bible. This is the one prompt I have decided to use my ability Hephaestus Forge on, and I will be switching this prompt out and replace it with a prompt I have created myself, and the prompt I have decided to create and replace this one with is to read a science fiction. In the Tropeical Readathon I am representing Team Sci-Fi, so might as well make sure that I can fit a sci-fi into the GreekGodAthon TBR as well. I do have a few options for this one. I am considering to read The Three Body Problem by Liu Cixin. I also plan on reading How High We Go in the Dark and also Want by Cindy Pons. So there are a few sci-fis on my overarching TBR for March. So I think that having a prompt in this particular readathon where I need to read a sci-fi will encourage me to get to those sci-fi books even more. Yeah, I'm quite happy with this one. Good prompt, that Hephaestus prompt, right? Hephaestus' ability is basically like a wild card. You can adjust it however you want to fit whatever book you want it to fit. So, amazing ability. Please pledge your alliance to God Hephaestus. I promise you that I will make you wonderful jewelry and that we will all keep warm in this cold because I am the god of fire and blacksmiths. Once again, I will leave the announcement video and all of the links and information down below so that you can join the readathon as well. Here I am, sitting on my tower of pillows in my own personal jungle. Hi, and welcome to the Tropeical Readathon TBR. I tried to dress up to fit the part. Tropical setting, one of my lovely Hawaii shirts, a bit of green on the eye. It's time for my Tropeical Readathon TBR. This is one of my absolute favorite readathons, and this time it will actually be the 4th time that I'm participating in it. It's my favorite both because of nostalgic reasons. It was one of the first readathons I ever participated in, but also I just think that Rob and Jenny, the hosts of the readathon, they always make such an amazing job with this, and I just love the concept and their ideas and what they do with it. So for the Tropeical Readathon, it's all about reading tropes. This is also another team-based readathon where you compete in teams based on genres. We have a fantasy genre, science fiction, romance, contemporary/literary/historical fiction. There's a non-fiction and poetry team, and there's also a mystery horror thriller team. So basically you got all your teams in this readathon. Funnily enough, every time I have participated I have been parts of different teams, which I think is super fun. So first time I was in the romance team, second time I was in the contemporary literary historical fiction team, third time was fantasy, and this year I will be representing Team Science Fiction. I am challenging myself to read some more science fiction, and I'm actually very excited about the books and the challenges for this team in particular. Every team has their own challenges, and also there are team books that you can read. You are allowed to read team books from other teams, that doesn't really matter. What I really appreciate with what Jen and Rob does in this readathon is that the team books that they pick, they always pick 2 books. They pick a newer release, if you're excited about a newer release, but they always make sure to also pick an older book that might be more accessible to other people. So I just think that's very lovely. And also regarding the prompts themselves, they always make sure to have an alternative prompt that is sort of like a wordplay at the main prompt. I will explain that a bit more once I get to that, but yeah. Let's just have a look at my TBR for the Tropeical Readathon. I will first talk about the books that are specifically for teen science fiction. So between the 2 teen books that you are allowed to pick, I plan on reading How High We Go in the Dark. I actually know nothing about this book. It does sound a bit difficult and complicated, to be honest, but I've been seeing it a lot in other people's videos and I don't know, I guess I'm intrigued. I think it's good for me to read a 2022 release and yeah, I'm actually excited. The first team challenge is to read a book with the cyberpunk trope. I barely know what this trope is. No freaking clue, to be honest, but I guess it's some sort of trope where technology is in our time. It's not necessarily in space, it's not that wacky or sci-fi-ish. It's more that the sci-fi element is in our own world, from what I understand. I'm not certain. Another great thing that the hosts of this readathon do is that they actually have a bunch of recommendations on the website as well. I would not be able to find a cyberpunk book on my own, but thanks to them, I know that I plan on reading Want by Cindy Pong for this book. Once again, I know nothing about this book other than the fact that I know that Kevin really enjoyed it and it sounded like a good time when he described it. The other team challenge is to read a space opera. Space opera, I guess, is what you typically think of when you think of sci-fi. Perhaps you think of space, aliens, stuff like that. And for this one, I plan on reading The 3-Body Problem by Liu Cixin. It's a book translated from Chinese. I've heard tons of amazing things about this series in general, and I've been wanting to read it, so here's my chance to actually get to it. So I'm very excited about it. So those were the sci-fi books, sci-fi prompts. Let's now talk about the general prompts. The first general prompt for the Tropeical Readathon is absent or dead parents. Quite a typical prompt in many books, I would say. And for this one, I plan on reading Mexican Gothic. Mexican Gothic was, as you saw, randomly picked for me from my randomizing my TBR part, so I needed to fit it in somewhere, and actually, I will just keep blabbering on about how amazing the hosts of this readathon are, because they actually have a website called Book Trigger Warning, where they not only put the trigger warnings for different books, they have a huge catalog of different books and all of the trigger warnings, but they also put the tropes that are featured in the books, which actually makes it so much easier to find books that you might be interested in reading, because you can either search for the prompt or for the book and see if it fits a prompt. So that's how I found out that Mexican Gothic fits the absent parent trope. The next trope is love triangle. None of my books that I sort of need to read or that I managed to squeeze into my other TBRs, none of them have a love triangle trope from what I see. But this is where another greatness with this readathon comes in. And that is that all of the prompts, except for the team prompts, have alternative prompts. The alternative prompt is to ask either your friends or your followers or whoever to pick between 2 books. Now, I have actually not decided which 2 books I will be picking between. I think I will just come up with that throughout the readathon, depending on what I need to read for certain prompts as well. I would love to fit The Roommate in here, which is another book I randomly picked and need to read, but I'm not sure what I wanted to go against yet. Next prompt is bookish theme. There are a lot of books with bookish themes that I would really love to read, but I haven't actually come up with any that I feel like worked for this month, once again with all my other TBRs. But the alternate prompt for this one is to read a 5-star prediction. And I do have that, The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. This is a 5-star prediction of mine. I've even put it in a video as a 5-star prediction, so I know this is a 5-star prediction, therefore it works with the prompt. Next prompt is platonic partnership. Once again, struggled with finding something from the books I already plan on reading to fit in with this. So I actually don't have a book for this prompt, but I do have one for the alternate prompt, because the alternate prompt is to do a buddy read. There's a little read-along that I'm co-hosting called the Poppy War Read-along. And in March, we're reading the third and final book of the Poppy War series, which is The Burning God. Read-along is basically like a huge buddy read. The next prompt is food theme. A part of me is considering to get a hold of arsenic and adobo in some way. Another book I saw suggested for this prompt, which I'm actually quite excited about, is Crying in H Mart, which is a non-fiction, or more like a memoir, about someone with, I believe, Korean heritage and how their life growing up in America was. It's not too long, I think it's about 7 hours as an audiobook, so I might actually listen to this one. I feel like it would be good for me to squeeze in some non-fictions and memoirs whenever I can. Next prompt is Blast from the Past. I always struggle with this prompt. Like, there are a few prompts that I'm not the biggest fan of. Not necessarily because I don't like the tropes, but I just think it's difficult to find books that fit certain tropes and prompts. One suggestion I saw somewhere is a thriller called Every Vow You Break. I believe it's by Peter Swanson, and I know nothing about it other than it's like a past lover that shows up somewhere. Perhaps it's an isolated island or a wedding. I don't remember. I want to continue to read thrillers, and I just do feel like listening to a thriller is actually pretty nice compared to listening to many other books. Next prompt is mixed media. I'm gonna let you guess which book I plan on reading for mixed media. Yeah, it's Gemina. I think this is the third time I have this on my Tropeical Readathon TBR. I had it for last year's March round and also for last year's August round, and now it's back on the March one. This time I will read it. I don't know, I need to have some sort of punishment in case I don't read it, because I'm so bad at getting to this book. It's the third time I have it put down for the mixed media trope. This is bad. Let me know if you're surprised that that book was on this month's TBR. Next prompt is apocalyptic or post-apocalyptic. Once again, I don't know that many books that would fit this prompt, for me at least, that I'm interested in. One of them is Station 11. The alternate prompt for this one is to read a comfort read. And I feel like I'm bending the rules a tad bit here, because what I plan on reading is not necessarily a comfort read for me, because I have never read it, but I know it's a comfort read for many other people. And the book I plan on reading for this prompt is Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. I have never read the Percy Jackson books. It was a challenge for myself last year when I did my Goodreads reading challenge. Never got to it. But now, once again, I'm able to fit this into multiple TBRs this month. Hopefully it can become a comfort read. I'm optimistic. I'm desperate. I just need to find books that work for all of these freaking prompts. Next prompt is Found Family. I actually plan on listening to Every Heart a Doorway by, I believe the author is called Shannon McGuire. What I know about this one is that it's short. It's a short audiobook, and I need short books on this TBR because I already have some chunky ones on it. It's some sort of portal fantasy, basically about children that I guess are lost, but then they enter this portal to a new world where they sort of feel like they fit in and things get better for them. I've heard very mixed reviews about this one. I know many that love this series. They are obsessed with this. Like Sasha, Esme, I think Femke as well. Like, many people love this series. But then some of my friends like Jane and Kevin were not as impressed by this book. So I'm very intrigued to figure out what I think of it and if I will enjoy this series or not. The next prompt is a morally grey character / an anti-hero. I have multiple books here on my TBR that works with this prompt. Rin in The Burning God definitely is a morally grey character. Also, I know that the blade itself follows a bunch of, I guess, villains. We're not following the heroes in this story. I realized now, when I was looking at this list, that I had not actually planned a book for this prompt yet. Also, you're not allowed to double up on the prompts. So in case I read the blade itself for this prompt, well, then I need to find something else for the bookish theme prompt. I haven't figured this one out yet. I might be mixing and matching and like move things around throughout the readathon. That's completely fine. We're gonna have to see how it goes. Next prompt is multiple point of view. For this one, I plan on reading Jade Legacy by Fonda Lee. We're following multiple characters in that one. There are multiple point of views. Another prompt that I always struggle with is the new kid in town prompt. I feel like back in the days, so many books were about the new kid in town, but nowadays none of the books are, and I always struggle with finding books for this one. So this is another one of my least favorites, I guess. I'm very glad that I actually found a book that works with this prompt. And the book I plan on reading for this prompt is City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. It's about a girl that can see ghosts, and she and her parents moved to Edinburgh in Scotland So she will become the new kid in town. So that is perfect. This is another book I have managed to squeeze into all of my TBRs, which makes me really happy. Once again, it's a middle grade. I'm hoping it will be a quick read. We have a large font, few pages, and it's Victoria Schwab. Then the final prompt is retelling. For this one, I plan on listening to The Chosen and The Beautiful. This is a retelling of, I believe it's called The Damned and the Beautiful. It was a popular book last year, I think, and I had this on my TBR for August's Tropeical Readathon. Never got to it, might get to it now instead, or I might find another retelling. Those are the books I plan on reading for the Tropeical Readathon. In total, there should be 16 prompts to fulfill, like 13 common prompts, 2 team-specific prompts, and also a team book. It totals up to 16 books within 31 days. So that will be difficult, especially considering, once again, that there's a lot of like fantasies, epic adult fantasies, also like a bunch of sci-fi on my TBR for this readathon that I don't typically read, so perhaps it will be a bit more difficult for me to get into the sci-fi. That's it for the Tropeical Readathon TBR. And that's it for this very huge, messy, grand, exciting, fun and scary March TBR. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please wish me a good luck with this because I'm sure as hell gonna need it, but I'm also so excited. Please join the readathons. I will leave the sign-up sheets and all of that and their announcement videos down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Please take care and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye!
You gotta just go for it. Don't think about what comes